welcome to our webinar, Exploring Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary Humanities. I'm Tamsin Hart from Cambridge University Press and Assessment. In our webinar today, we'll be exploring Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary Humanities, including teaching approaches for an engaging humanities curriculum and how to adapt the curriculum content to your local context. Aman will be taking us through the Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary Humanities curriculum in the first section. In the second section, Aman and Biljana will be introducing us to the resources that are available to support your teaching. In the third section, Julie will be taking us through our professional development. And for the final 20 minutes, you'll have the opportunity to have your questions answered by our panel of presenters. Please leave any questions you have in the Q&A box throughout the session for us to answer at the end. So that's the end of our introduction. Let me now hand over to Aman.
Thank you, Tamsin. So hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Aman Sidhu. In Cambridge International, I have been working for the last 5 years in the department that develops curricula. Before joining this organization, I spent most of my career in India, where I had the incredible opportunity to be involved in setting up a school. That experience gave me a deep appreciation for the challenges and rewards of working in education. I'm excited to be here with you all today to introduce one of our new subjects, humanities. But before we do that, let me give you an overview of our pathway. Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary are key stages on our Cambridge pathway. We're proud to now offer a total of 13 subjects for schools to choose from, all supported by flexible assessment options and rigorous teaching and learning support. A broad and balanced curriculum is key to our offer. We place a lot of value on its flexibility as well as our high-quality teaching and learning support. We've also developed programs that are adaptable to your needs and enable learners to see themselves in their learning. You'll see these areas reflected as we go through our new subject, so that schools can rely on the usual Cambridge approach. The diagram shows our full subject offer at primary and lower secondary. You can see our exciting new additions, humanities and modern foreign language. This slide really highlights the holistic nature of our program. From humanities and well-being to computing and science, schools have the opportunity to explore a broad range of subjects in a way that suits their needs and local context. I am delighted to introduce Cambridge PLS Humanities to Cambridge schools. We have been listening to your requests and are excited to add this new subject to the primary and lower secondary program. Humanities is a fascinating and enriching subject that helps us understand the complexities of our world, which is particularly relevant in today's climate. Our learners are eager to explore and make sense of issues like climate change, conflict, resolution, and identity, and to take ownership of their understanding. The Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary Humanities curriculum is designed to help learners explore the world, its people and places, both locally and globally, in the past, present, and future. Learners develop knowledge, understanding, and skills related to key concepts, events, processes, and interconnections that shape the world. They also learn about worldviews, narratives, ideas, interpretations, and explanations that help us make sense of our world. Learners are encouraged to question and reflect on their learning to broaden and deepen their understanding and inform future thinking. This curriculum provides a foundation for lifelong interest in humanities and social sciences subjects, supporting progression to future study. So before I carry on with describing the curriculum to you, it would be great to get to know you. A little hard, I appreciate, with so many of you, but let us try with a poll. So Tamsin, please can you share the poll?
Here we go.
And there are 3 questions for you. So the first one is, are you from a Cambridge school? The second one is, have you looked at the new Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary Humanities curriculum? And the last one is, would you want to integrate a national humanities or social studies curriculum with Cambridge primary and lower secondary humanities curriculum?
Great to see everyone participating so quickly. We're over 50% already. Now over 60, fantastic. And over 70%. Some really interesting answers coming in. We're slowing down a little, so let's just give us one more minute before I end the poll. If anyone can't access the poll, just make sure you haven't got pop-ups blocked on your system. Brilliant, thank you. I think we are slowing down there now, so I'm going to end the poll there. If you didn't get a chance to put your answers in, we'd love to see them in the chat as well. Okay, ending the poll now and sharing the results.
Great, thank you, Tamsin. So it's great to see that so many of you are part of the Cambridge community, and also a warm welcome to those who are interested in the Cambridge offer. And for the second question, this is a really nice mixed response. So we've got some of you who've had a look at the curriculum and some of you who haven't. I think that's great, and this will bring an interesting mix to the discussion at the end, I suspect. Let's have a look at the third one. Oh, it's a lot of planning to integrate. That sounds great. So that strong interest is really good. And I'm hoping to show you how the Cambridge curriculum framework is flexible and complement national requirements. So thank you for that. So I'm going to stop sharing the results now. Right. And now back to the curriculum. So as you can imagine, developing a humanities curriculum for learners who are in over 160 countries around the world is challenging. Early on in our development, we came across the metaphor about the curriculum being a window and a mirror, a metaphor first used by Emily Style in 1988, and it is something that has stuck with us and helped us make decisions while also motivating us. The curriculum should provide learners the opportunity to look out into the world to make sense of it, but also provide them with the opportunities to figure out who they are and what their place in the world is. We wanted all learners to see themselves in the curriculum. They should be learning about their history and their environment, starting with their own identity, history, and environment, and be able to understand different perspectives and the origins of these, and then moving on to other contexts from around the world. So like some of our other curricula, for example, physical education, the learning objectives are grouped into 3 groups: stages 1 to 3, stages 4 to 6, and stages 7 to 9, giving teachers the flexibility to choose which learning objectives to teach in each class or grade in their school. For all groups of stages, we suggest 90 hours of humanities teaching over 3 years, which is basically 30 hours per stage or an hour a week. The curriculum is organized into 3 strands: people, past, and places. The people strand relates to humanities and social science subjects such as psychology, sociology, and economics, past to history, and places to geography. To give you an idea of the content in the curriculum, this slide shows you the substrands each strand is divided into. The people strand has content on community, identity, money and trade, rights and responsibilities, and people discipline-specific skills in the skills toolbox. The past strand has content on arts and sciences, belief and culture, conflict and resolution, economy and communications, migrations and empires, and society and daily life, and past discipline-specific skills in the skills toolbox. Places has content on economic development, environment, living places, physical features and processes, population and health, sustainability, transport and travel, weather and climate, and places discipline-specific skills in the skills toolbox. A key feature of our curriculum is flexibility. Before we started developing the subject, we spent time finding out from teachers and schools about their context and what they wanted from us. And what they wanted was flexibility. A significant proportion of schools wanted a curriculum where they could pick and choose content to supplement their own curriculum to make it more international and global. To enable this, we've incorporated the following features. It is not compulsory to teach all strands or learning objectives. Teachers can choose content from the curriculum in line with their national, school, and learner requirements. Learning objectives are grouped into 3 stage groups. Teachers choose in which stage, grade, or class they want to teach the learning objectives. There is no external assessment from Cambridge like Checkpoint, but we provide formative assessment guidance. Another feature of our learning objectives that make them flexible is that we've tried not to include context in them so that they are applicable to a wide range of contexts to suit the numerous countries where Cambridge schools can be found, while providing enough detail so that they are helpful. The first example is from the past strand for stages 1 to 3. From a past context, describe a form of written communication. Example from the people strand is from stages 4 to 6. Analyze what a community needs to function well. For places, the example learning objective is from stages 7 to 9. Explain how global patterns of employment have changed over the last 100 years. As a teaching approach, we are recommending that a simple inquiry approach is used to deliver the curriculum using inquiries. Our inquiry approach is a process of teaching and learning that enables learners actively to engage with the Cambridge Humanities curriculum in a way that deepens their learning about a humanities topic across a number of lessons. Central to our inquiry approach is the inquiry question. To answer the inquiry question, learners conduct an inquiry which requires them to research, analyze, and present information while reflecting on their learning journey and developing their humanities skills and knowledge. For each inquiry comprises a number of lessons that focus on the question and may relate to 1, 2, or all 3 strands in the humanities curriculum: people, past, and places. The inquiry question engages learners' curiosity about their world and motivates them to engage with information that will build their knowledge of humanities subjects, develop a range of skills, including skills specific to humanities subjects, make decisions, draw conclusions, and reflect on how their skills, knowledge, and worldviews change through the inquiry. Throughout the inquiry, learners develop their skills and deepen their understanding of the humanities topic. At the end of the inquiry, they answer the inquiry question. On the support side, there will be in total, across the groups of stages and primary and lower secondary, 65 example inquiries. These inquiries contain detailed activities for teachers to use with their learners and suggested resources. On this slide, you can see some example inquiry questions. For example, for the past, we have one on why was the Indus Valley a successful civilization? And in stages 7 to 9, we have a places one, what stories are behind population changes and migration patterns. We will also have integrated inquiries that go over all 3 strands, providing a people, past, and places perspective to the inquiry. On this slide, there is a primary example of a possible inquiry. In the Get Curious step, you explore if an essential and non-essential objects make you happy. Develop an inquiry question. For example, does money make you happy? Then in Explore, you plan to answer the inquiry question, investigate and analyze. For example, consider what money is, how is it made, and how can you find out if it makes you happy? In Share, you answer the inquiry question and choose a way of sharing your findings. For example, in a story, presentations, or through a podcast. In What's Next, you can reflect on how your view on money has changed or discuss what you'd like to find out next. For example, how to save money, handling it responsibly. Throughout the inquiry, you keep a journal which you reflect on whether money makes you happy or not. So I'm going to now show you the various helpful features of the example inquiries which you can download from the support site. Each inquiry has an inquiry question to get you started, indicates the teaching time required, and right at the top provides a summary of the whole inquiry to save you from reading the whole document. There is a section on adapting the inquiry. Here you will get tips on how to make the inquiry longer or shorter. The inquiries are written for the middle stage of the groups of stages. So an inquiry for stages 7 to 9 has been developed keeping in mind stage 8 learners. So in adapting the inquiry section, you will also find ideas on how to make the inquiry simpler or more challenging. Another thing that teachers told us was that they wanted international contexts to explore with their learners. Here is an example from the past strand for stages 7 to 9. Our example inquiries are written where required with a specific context. So like this one is on empires and is using the Mughal Empire as a context. However, we realize that this context is not meaningful to all learners, and so we suggest alternative contexts that can be used with the same sort of activities. In this case, this inquiry could also work with Islamic empires, Mongol empires, and European empires. We also include online links to a wide variety of sources. Similar examples can be found in several places inquiries as well as some people inquiries. We also put useful subject knowledge and warnings about sensitive issues in the key points to consider section. The learning objectives, the inquiry addresses are listed and example success criteria. We provide a list of words that learners would find useful for the inquiry, and then activities for each step of the inquiry. Activities on how to start the inquiry and get curious, activities on how to collect and analyze information and explore, and activities on how to share findings and ideas for what to do next. At the end of the inquiry document, example inquiry document, in further resources, you will find further information to scaffold or extend the inquiry, and in teacher resources, any worksheets or learning material mentioned in the inquiry. Teachers like yourself also told us that they wanted more support in conducting fieldwork with their learners. Several of our inquiries contain guidance on conducting fieldwork. These include ideas for fieldwork, selecting places, and conducting the fieldwork. On our support sites, which you can access via School Support Hub, we have all the usual resources for you to use to deliver the curriculum framework, teacher guide, assessment guidance, guidance for using the inquiry approach, example inquiries for all stage groups, skills toolbox videos, subject forums, and a link to teacher training, which starts in June 2025. We have also developed 8 videos that are on the support site to support you to develop discipline-specific skills with your learners. For people, we have one on opinions, viewpoints, and another on handling data. For places, we have one on fieldwork and another on using photographs, maps, and plans. For past, there are 4 videos asking historical questions, developing an understanding of historical interpretations, developing chronological understanding, and using sources to understand the past. These videos illustrate the progression of these discipline-specific skills from stages 1 to 3 to stages 7 to 9. We don't have a checkpoint, but we have assessment guidance document which you can download. In the teacher guide, we have a whole section on monitoring and evaluation, section 5. And in the inquiries, we have indicated opportunities where you can monitor learners' progress with a tick and suggested associated success criteria at the beginning of the inquiries document. I appreciate I've shared a lot of information with you, so I thought I would give you my tips on getting started. There are a lot of documents to go through, so I would start with the following three. First, the learning objective exemplifications document. They sit just under where you download the curriculum framework. These describe the learning objectives, their depth, breadth, and in some cases, we give examples as well. The next document I would download is the Inquiry Approach Guide, which provides details on each step of the inquiry approach, how to plan, FAQs, guidance on what makes a good inquiry question, promoting discussion in the classroom, and questions to prompt discussion. In a humanities lesson, discussion is essential, and promoting it so that all learners are engaged is difficult. So we've suggested ideas and questions for you to try out. I would also download one example inquiry to read and refer to as you go through the other two documents. You will need to adapt the curriculum to your context so that it is meaningful to your learners and they can see themselves in the curriculum. For that, you will need to select for each stage which learning objectives to teach, decide time periods and context of the past learning objectives, and decide how to integrate national requirements if applicable. Support for adapting the curriculum can be found in the Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary Teacher Guide in Section 2, Planning. Can also be found in the Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary Inquiry Approach Guide, Section 4, Getting Started. And I would also use the Cambridge Primary and Lower Secondary Humanities Learning Objective Exemplifications document as well. And so what's next? We would love to hear from you about what you think about the new curriculum and what kind of further support you would like from us. Please let us know through the subject forums. These messages go directly to the curriculum team and we personally respond to them. And now I'm going to hand you over to Biljana to talk about associated products.
Great, thank you so much, Aman. Hello, everyone. I'm Biljana, and I'm commissioning editor for PLS Humanities. I'm excited to introduce you today to the new digital teachers resources to support the new curriculum. We have 3 digital teachers resources, as you can see on the slide. They're covering stages 1 to 3, 4 to 6, and 7 to 9, and these will help you to cover the learning objectives from the curriculum and bring it to life. To reflect the rich diversity of over 160 countries where we have Cambridge schools, and they have widely varying geography, history, and culture, we are providing content that you can adapt with local examples where you see fit to use it in your local environment. This next slide tells us more about the nature of the digital teachers resources. They're flexible and responsive. And what we mean by that is that they include customizable, downloadable resources that will be updated regularly, and we will keep adding content that is relevant, that is up to date, and that is linked to the curriculum. This year, there will be 36 inquiries in total, so that's 12 in each teacher's resource, that will be available between June and September, and all curriculum learning objectives will be covered. If you purchase this product before October 2026, you'll get an early adopter's price. In October 2026, we will add further contextual content in response to your feedback. In October 2027, your ongoing feedback will guide further content decisions. The next slide, please. We will look here at the features in the teacher's resources. To ensure consistency with the curriculum, we use the recommended inquiry approach. Each inquiry has a variety of features, including teaching ideas with starters, mains, and plenaries that match the pedagogical principles and steps of the inquiry approach. The inquiry question and steps are central in each lesson with the learning objectives that are stated for each inquiry, the teaching time, and the success criteria. You told us that you need formative assessment, and we are providing it to support you to assess if learners have understood the content before moving on to another topic. We also know that language and terminology can be challenging, so we provide clear and age-appropriate definitions. Common misconceptions will help you identify them with suggestions of how to overcome them. I'm going to talk about the other features on the next 2 slides. The next slide, please. So the features in the teacher's resources include global and flexible content. There are examples and case studies from all over the world, as well as suggestions about how they can be adapted and customized to fit your own local context. All strands of the curriculum are optional, and so are the teaching ideas in the teacher's resources, so you can choose which parts you'd like to teach to suit your local needs. The features include ideas how to adapt the inquiry for your local context to make it relevant for your learners. They also include ideas how to make the inquiry more challenging or less challenging, as well as longer or shorter. Key considerations give you suggestions about covering other issues if they're relevant to the inquiry, such as risk assessment for fieldwork and so on. The next slide, please. We use active learning for learning engagement in all teaching ideas. That means that students will be actively engaged in learning through activities and discussions, rather than passively receiving information. PowerPoint slides for each inquiry, approximately 10, include engaging imagery for front of class teaching to engage learners. We also include links to video content to bring learning to life. Alternative suggestions will enable you to make the most appropriate cultural choice, helping your learners see themselves in the curriculum with experiences that are relating directly to their own experience from their own community and to topics that inspire them to make their learning personal and memorable. Worksheets will enable learners to develop their skills and demonstrate their understanding. And the final slide. Aman, please. Here, I'll talk about how to use the resources alongside the curriculum. So as I mentioned previously, all curriculum learning objectives are covered in the digital teachers resources. They are listed in each inquiry at the beginning of each inquiry. And we also provide a curriculum mapping document in the introductory materials of the teacher's resources, so you can see where each learning objective is covered. Now I'm going to hand over to Julie to tell you more about professional development.
Thank you. So hi everyone, I'm Julie, a Senior Professional Development Manager at Cambridge, and I'm going to give you an overview of the professional development which is available to support you with primary and lower secondary humanities. So we are offering introduction courses. So these are aimed at teachers who are new to a Cambridge programme. They are online courses which take place over 5 weeks, and they are led by an experienced tutor. And as mentioned earlier, the next courses which are open for primary and lower secondary humanities are taking place in June, and I'll tell you a bit more about how to book those in a moment. So these are asynchronous courses, meaning that there are no live elements where you have to be online at a particular time. So this means that they're flexible, and they're flexible around other commitments, and you can access the course and complete the tasks at a time of day that suits you. So during the 5-week course, you will engage with documents, there'll be some on-screen content, and also take part in discussion forums led by the tutor. And these are a great opportunity to collaborate with other humanities teachers from around the world. Next slide, please. So to give you an idea, here is an overview of what will be covered during those 5 weeks. So participants will learn about the curriculum framework and key content for teaching. They will also become familiar with the Cambridge approach to teaching and learning. And as you can see, there's an example in the screenshot there of some forum discussions and activities around active learning, for example. Participants will also understand the curriculum aims and learning objectives, reflect on a range of teaching approaches and how to use these in planning, review endorsed resources, and again, as I've mentioned before, this is a great opportunity to share ideas and collaborate with other Cambridge teachers. Next slide, please. So how the course is structured is that each week you will explore a range of key questions along with a tutor and other participants. So these will help to develop your understanding of the curriculum and the Cambridge approach to teaching and learning. The expectation in terms of time commitment is that you will spend around 3 to 5 hours each week on the course. This will include time to read materials, the opportunity to reflect on your own practice, and also to take part in discussion forums. And each week there are a set of completion criteria to help you to keep track of what needs to be done. And you can see an example of these completion criteria in the screenshot on the right. And in fact, if you would like to explore further and learn more about our online introduction courses, there is a link on our website to a demonstration course where you can have a look and find out a bit more about what to expect when you enroll on a Cambridge online course. Next slide, please. So finally, if you would like to book professional development courses, you can see what is upcoming on our professional development calendar, which is on our website. There is a 20% discount available for early bookings, and the dates that you need to book by are on the advert. As I mentioned at the beginning, the next available courses for primary and lower secondary humanities are in June. So please do visit our website to have a look at those. And I can pop a link in the chat in a moment to our professional development calendar. So thank you.
Thank you, Julie. So what are your next steps? Now, registered Cambridge schools can access this new subject via the School Support Hub. But if you're not a Cambridge school and you're interested in registering as one, there are 4 steps that you can see on your screen to the right. So if you visit the link in the chat that my colleague Rita is sharing now, you can find out more. And don't worry if you can't copy the links in the chat, because we'll include all of these in the email we send out in 7 days' time, which will include a link to the recordings and a link to the slides. But thank you so much, Aman, Bilana, and Julie, for that fantastic presentation. It's really appreciated. So good luck with your teaching, and goodbye.